I'm going to start with just a quick little introduction on myself, and then we'll get into this because I want to make sure you guys get as much value out of it as possible. So my name's Doug. I've been investing in real estate for 9 years. I've been a KeySpire member since 2017. Yes, part of the cult. Been a KeySpire success story. I'm Rain Rookie of the Year for 2019 for properties purchased in BC. I'm a Revenue with Real Estate partner, so I do some real estate coaching. For those of you who've maybe heard the Revenue with Real Estate podcast, that's me. We've had tons of exceptional guests on there. I've appeared on a number of podcasts and stages, including Rain, KeySpire, IPG. Some of these other names that you see here are hopefully recognizable. And just in terms of my background with real estate, at this stage, we're coming up on 25 plus deals. Very experienced with joint ventures, pre-construction condos, buy and hold burrs, pretty much everything on the residential side I've done. And I've either raised money for or brought other money into those deals, or I've sold people on partnering with me in the sense of like selling a working partner to partner with me. Okay, so that goes the other way. A lot of times people are thinking, oh, yeah, I'm a working partner and I got to sell the money. If you have money, sometimes you need to sell the working partners too. So just something to be aware of. And as James was saying, I work currently with Grant Cardone Canada. And for those of you who are familiar with Grant Cardone, social media, YouTube aside, his sales training programs are top notch. Like there is no better sales trainer in the world. And I'm really grateful to be somebody who can work at that organization and sell businesses, sell salespeople, realtors, property managers, investors on the idea that, hey, you actually have to have some sales skills because in life, everything is a sale. And so my intention in this presentation tonight is to sell you on the most important sale of all, provide you with a high-level overview of the sales process for real estate investors. I'm going to give you some tactical skills, some word tracks. Okay, a word track is a thing that you can say. This is what you can say to people to move them through your process and to provide you with a process that you can use immediately. And then I'm going to share with you the number one sales skill that is key to long-term real estate investing success. And it might not be what you think. Hopefully some of you guys already know what that is, but we'll get into that at the end. So guys and girls, the most important sale. I'm just gonna open up my gallery view here real quick, and I'm gonna just get a poll of hands here. Can you put your hand up if you are a salesperson? Please put your hand up. Or if you see yourself as a salesperson. I just want to get a sense of the room here. Okay, good. Good, about half the room. Okay, for those of you who didn't put your hand up, I'm gonna share that you are in fact a salesperson. You need to get sold on the idea that you are a salesperson. We are all selling. And if you're a real estate investor, you have to actually be able to sell three things. And this goes for no matter what job you're doing. Okay, whether you're a real estate investor or otherwise, is you've got to sell people on number one, yourself. You're the most important sale. Because if you're not sold on you, how can you expect me to be sold on you? It's so simple, but it's like, oh man, I got to have the best deal. I got to have the best returns. I got to make sure the property looks nice. I got to have the best freaking presentation they've ever seen. I got to have the fade-ins on the PowerPoint. Guys, no, none of that matters. What really matters is you. Okay, so how do you get sold on yourself? Well, there's a number of ways you can do it, right? But most importantly, for me at least, I go back to, why would people want to do business with me? So as an exercise, okay, if you write this down, exercises for you to do is, why would people want to do business with you? So really quick for myself, right? I can list off, I've got 9 years of experience investing in real estate. Okay. I'm true to my word. Anybody who does business with me, I will communicate effectively with them and be honest with them. Okay. I'm going to show them my opportunities. I'm going to be very transparent, and I'm going to, do what I say I was going to do. Okay. So, I mean, there's a number of other things that I could share about myself, but like, just really quick, you should be able to come up with like 5 things about why you are the right person to do business with. And if you sell yourself effectively, then you're going to build confidence. The other 2 things you got to be sold on are your product and your company. Now, most people probably don't have a real estate investing company. If you do, great. But a lot of times you're just representing yourself. So in essence, you need to be sold on the product. And the product is your investment opportunity. You're the deal that you have. It's the lending opportunity that you want. It's the return that you're going to provide the investor. Okay, so everybody's clear on this, right? You've got to make sales to yourself, and that's the most important sale first. I got to sell me on me, and I got to sell me on my product. Here's a takeaway, though. I want to make sure everybody gets this, is that you don't sell yourself and yourself on your product one time and have it be done. Okay? And I'll tell you why this is true, because guys, like, to come on and do a presentation like this, I don't know any of you, or I know some of you, and like, I get a little bit nervous, right? And I'm like, oh man, I don't know, these people are going to take away something. Maybe they're not going to like this. So literally before the session, I'm taking my own advice. I'm not going to show you all the words, but I sold myself on being on this presentation for you. So selling yourself is a continuous thing, right? Because how many people woke up this morning and were like, I don't really feel like performing today. You know what? I got that investor call, but the last person who I presented to said no. Okay, great. So like, you're going to hop on the next call and bring that energy in? No, you got to resell yourself that you're the person to do business with. So this has to happen continuously over and over and over again. Okay, you got to keep selling yourself on you, keep selling yourself on the product. Okay. All right. Now that we've got the most important sale, let's move into the sales process. All right, this is what it looks like. Starts off with lack of quality teachers. No, just kidding, guys. Okay, a lot of us, though, as investors, this is kind of what we're doing. We don't have a real process in place. We know we've got to qualify the investor. We know we've got to show them an investment. We know we've got to actually get them through the door. We know we've got to find people to talk to. We know we've got to do a joint venture agreement. We know we've got to get a property manager in place, but we don't actually know where we're at in the process. And when you don't have a continuous process, it's hard on your confidence because you don't know exactly what you're doing or where people are at. And 2, you can't create anything that's predictable. So having a process in place allows you to be consistent. It allows you to identify the places where maybe you're struggling and not getting the result that you want. And 3rd, it really gives you confidence because you can know, like, hey, here's my track, right? I'm running on this track and I'm just moving through the process systematically with confidence to get to an end result, right? You guys have all probably seen in marketing or in sales, right? You've got the funnel, right? And at the top of the funnel, there's certain things that are happening here. And as you get further down, eventually people drop out at the bottom. It's like that, except we're going to define the actual process of what this looks like. And so I'm going to start here, and this is where we're actually going to start to get tactical. So get out your pen, start writing something down. I'll communicate with James. Maybe we can get you guys these slide decks if that's going to be helpful for people, so that you can take this and start to build some of your own scripts or your own processes for your guys' business, okay? But this is really where it all starts. The top of the sales process is greeting people. And then you're going to work your way down through, okay? So you're going to have a reason why you're calling. You're going to qualify the lead, set an appointment, and then lock and close. And this is just, guys, we're not talking about actually getting into a presentation yet. All we're doing right now is qualifying people, getting their attention, getting out of obscurity, and actually determining, hey, is this someone worth talking to? Okay, I made this mistake a whole ton early in my career. I don't make it as much now. But when I first started out, especially in Keyspire, you get this giant network. It's like candy for real estate investors. Like, oh my gosh, there's people like me out there who want to invest in real estate. Awesome. Let's go talk to all of them. And so you're like bouncing around the room. You're developing all these new connections. You're making all these conversations. And the reality is, like, maybe 2% of the people that you talk to are actually going to make sense for your business. Okay. There's going to be a whole bunch of reasons why they aren't a good fit. And if you don't actually have a process to move them through and like weed out the people that you should actually talk to, you're going to waste a ton of time. You're going to get really frustrated because you're not getting any results. And then you're going to wonder, like, hey, is real estate investing even for me? Or like, what's the deal with this partnership stuff or lending or whatever? Like, screw it. It's just not working. But what you've really done is you actually misidentified, like, hey, what do I need to do to actually move people through a process so that they can come out the other side and actually be somebody that I can do business with? I didn't exactly have it in the presentation here, but somebody asked a question about, where do I find my partners from? Where do I find my lenders from? And I'm just going to share with you on this is that you're actually going to find them in radiating circles. Okay. I didn't put anything on prospecting in this presentation because I didn't feel it was the best use of time. But to find your partners, you want to start with the people who are closest to you, who know you the best, and already have a pre-existing trusting relationship with you. Like, think of it this way. Is it easier for me to find a partner who is a complete stranger? Christy, I don't know who you are, Christy. You don't know who I am, right? So I could try and make Christy a partner, but it'd probably be a lot easier to go talk to my brother first. Why don't we start there? So for me, how I found my partners is I just made lists. And this is something as an exercise that you guys can do as well. You want to start with family members, okay? Close people to you, close friends, people you've known for a long time. Then you can branch out to maybe work associates, people who have a relationship with you already. And then from there, maybe you could go extended family, acquaintances, people you played high school sports with, people you went to high school with. Everybody that you know is a potential lead, a potential person to do business with. But I urge you, start with the easiest people first and then branch out. There's another reason why you want to do this without going into the weeds of kind of what's happening right now in Saskatchewan with a couple of different groups that are in some serious trouble because they expanded this network and started going way beyond friends, family, and associates, didn't set up the right structures in place to be in alignment with Securities and Exchange Commission, or basically securities law, and now they're getting in serious trouble. So you can avoid all that, let's call it shit. Sorry, James, I don't know if we're allowed to swear, but I just did it. You can avoid all that by simply connecting with people who are in your inner circle, who already have relationships with you, and actually moving them into a process. Okay, so that's what I would do. I forget who asked the question. It's a great question. Start with people who are closest to you and then expand outwards from there. It's going to save you a bunch of time and it's going to save you a bunch of trouble as well. Okay, so getting back into the presentation here of like, how do you work through this? Doug, this is great. Now I've got a process, I've got a track to run on, but dude, what do I say? Like, how many people here would like to know, how do I bridge the gap between, okay, I'm interested in real estate investing, I want to get going on this, I don't have capital, how do I bridge the gap between me as like just who I am and me as the real estate investor and start having conversations with people about real estate? How many people want to know how to bridge that gap without being weird? Yeah? Okay, cool. So this is a very simple way of doing it. I think there's plenty of ways of doing this, but this is probably the simplest way to just cut to the chase. Okay, so we're going to start with a very simple greeting. John, it's Doug from school, from your brother, whatever it may be, okay? Insert where you know them from. And if you already know them, guys, you probably don't need to go through this, but like, hey, it's just a good practice, okay? So, hey, John, it's Doug. Remember we played basketball together in college. Listen, I'm probably catching you in the middle of something, so I'll keep this quick. Is that cool? So I'm getting right into it. I'm in business right now, okay? Some of you might be looking at the sentence here. I'm probably catching you in the middle of something, so I'll keep this quick. Is that cool? Guys who are realtors on this call, anybody else is in sales, this is a killer line, because when you're making a call to someone who's not expecting it, they have a couple of things that are going to come up, just standard reactionary defense responses, okay, or little objections. And one of the biggest objections that come up right away is, I don't have time. So when you say to someone, I'm probably catching you in the middle of something, so I'll keep this quick, is that cool? You're bridging through this like immediate, I don't have time, I'm busy. You're acknowledging it. Hey, you're probably busy. I'll keep it quick. Is that okay? Awesome, man. What's up? So now I move into the reason why I'm calling. Again, this is all about being efficient. People get stuck because they're like, I got to call them. Hey, John, it's Doug with the basketball. Remember we basketball team? Yeah, man. I've been a long time. Haven't chatted. What's going on? I don't know, man. I haven't chatted with you in 3 years. Yeah, no, it's cool. What are you up to? Guys, forget all about that. No one cares, right? If you want to get in, get deals done, you want to get, actually develop moving forward in your real estate, let's just go for it, okay? They're going to respect you. They're going to appreciate the fact that you respect their time and that you're going for and asking for business, okay? So it starts here. Look like a professional now so you can actually have them be an investor later. Reason for the call and the hook. I said it off the top. James has been doing a killer job tonight of providing the hook, right? Great presentation coming up. He's this, he's this, he's this. I hope I'm fulfilling it so far, right? But he's been hooking you guys. Hey, stick around. You're going to have a great presentation. You're going to learn a lot. Okay, so you need to do this in a short, quick punch right after you greet. Great, John, the reason for the call is I've been investing in real estate for the past 9 years, and I've seen returns in my portfolio on projects of over 30%. It's a pretty big claim, right? Like 30%. Most people are getting, 8, 10, maybe in the stock market. If it's in the bank, we know what they're getting. If it's in an RRSP, we're even getting less. Okay, so this is a statement that's designed to like, boom, this is what I'm doing. It's supposed to be big, okay? Because you're doing what's called grabbing attention here. You want to pull people in, and without a hook, they're not going to be paying attention, okay? So the difference between, great, John, I'm calling because I started investing in real estate, and I just wanted to see, like, have you ever done any investing in real estate? That's a very different, there's no hook there. It's just me talking about what I'm doing. There's no real benefit. Versus, John, reason for the call, I've been investing in real estate for the past 9 years, and I've seen returns on my portfolio on projects of over 30%. So oh, interesting, right? And now I move into a quick qualification, because I want to know, for me and for them, if this is a conversation worth pursuing further. And by conversation, I mean an actual presentation where, as James was talking about earlier, you're going to show them the type of investment you're doing. You're going to figure out if they're an even better fit for you, and so on and so forth. And we'll talk about that in a quick bit. But you're going to ask a number of questions here, really quick questions to get a sense if this is a worthwhile person to talk to. If they're not, that's cool. You're going to thank them for their time. Hey, man, great catching up. We should grab a coffee sometime, or we should, go out and we should shoot some hoops, whatever it may be. Okay, but you're really trying to qualify for business here. So the first question I want to ask, just to get a sense, where are they at? Have you invested in real estate before? If yes, what kinds of investments? If not, you can move on to the next question, which is really going to get them in communication with you, hopefully, which is, what are the big challenges you're facing when it comes to your financial future? If you're like, Doug, whoa, that's a freaking bold question to ask on a call with someone I haven't talked to in 5 years, or maybe you've never even had this conversation with your family before, right? Yeah, you might be a little bit uncomfortable asking these questions. But I assure you this, the more you ask these questions, the more comfortable you'll get doing it. And they're also going to give you more information, again, about whether or not they're a good fit for you. Third question, if I could show you even half of what I told you, would you make time to discuss real estate investing further? This is like what's known as the money question or the magic question. You're basically saying in the sentence, if I could show you even half of a 30% return, would you make time to discuss that? Most people are probably gonna be like, yeah, if they're slightly interested in real estate, if they like you, they have some trust, yeah, they're probably going to move forward. And so at that point, and guys, this is really key. I'm going to hammer on it a little bit later too, is you need to know if they're a decision maker for investing. So the question is, other than yourself, who else would need to be involved in making any investment decisions? For realtors who are on the call, right? Mogul team, even for you guys, right? When you're qualifying a potential buyer or someone to sell the home, other than yourself, who else would need to be involved in making a decision on buying your new home? Because as you guys know, you may be talking to the wife, you might be talking to the husband, there may be a parent who owns the house. You guys got to find out this information. Okay? We keep going here. From here, you want to move into an appointment. And we're going to talk about that presentation in a bit. But, you know, assuming they've given you all the answers you need, yep, I'm the decision maker. Great. Do you have some time right now to take a look at this, or could tomorrow work better for you? So I'm moving. I want to move with speed into an appointment where I can show them and present my product, my investments. Okay. Or let's set a time on the calendar where we can actually take some time and look at this. And lastly, hey, is there any reason why you wouldn't be able to make the call? Without getting into all the theory on it, you just want to get a sense of like, hey, is this person serious or not? Right? You just don't want them to flake on you. That's all. So you want to lock that down. Is there any reason why you're not going to be able to make this? Okay. Cool. So we've now gone through, and I know I'm fire hosing you with information. And if you guys have questions, I see there's something in the chat there. I will come to it at the end. I just want to make sure we get through all of our information here. So you've made this process. You've now qualified someone down to the point where you're actually willing to engage in an appointment with them, right? Where you're going to show them a little bit more about what you do in your business. And so we're now into the next part of the process, which is an appointment and a presentation. Okay. So this is where things get fun. It's where you get to find out a little bit more about each other. And, you know, James did a great job in the presentation earlier about the questions that you can ask people. I've got a bunch of them in here. I won't go through all of them. But you do want to get a clear sense of, yeah, why is this person having a conversation with you? And yeah, are they going to be a really good fit? Because if you're not good fits as a partner, you shouldn't do business together, plain and simple. Okay, so let's start off here. Greeting and putting the investor at ease. Ooh, Doug, why would you do this? All right, I just want to picture this. I want you to picture this, right? You're a working partner and you have done the greeting, you've done the first call, and you're talking to your uncle, John. And John has some money. You know this, right? And it's very clear that they're going to be coming into a presentation where you're probably going to pitch them on something. So just put yourself in John's shoes for a moment. You've called him up. You're going to pitch him on some real estate investing that you're doing. And he's coming into a call knowing that he's going to get pitched. So there's a number of things that could be going through John's mind right now. I don't want to tell my nephew that I'm just not interested in this. The last time I did an investment, it didn't play out well. He could really be concerned about his financial future. And he knows potentially that you're going to be addressing it. So just understand that the person you're talking to may feel a little bit uneasy. And that's totally fine. But it's your job to A, know that, and B, do something about it. And so the way you can do something about it is this, okay? Welcome them to the call. John, and you could be doing this over coffee. You can be doing it on a webinar like a Zoom. Okay, there's lots of ways to do this. I would recommend in person if possible. Otherwise, a Zoom like this works great. So use the word track like this. John, thank you for joining me. I want to be respectful of your time. How much time did you set aside for today's meeting? When you relieve time, people can relax and be in the moment. Okay? They want to know, are we going to be here for 5 minutes, 15, 30, or are you going to take an hour? Especially with people who do business, right? Like you might get 5 minutes with somebody. You might get 15, you might get 30, right? But you want to be respectful of their time, acknowledge their time, and make sure you fit your presentation all you want into the time that they have. Because if you don't, they're going to get pissed off. Okay, guys, whatever they say, and you know, write this down, whatever they say, your answer is perfect. That's more than enough time. Again, you're just putting them at ease. This is a great line. We use this all the time in our office. We're meeting with business owners. They tell us, hey, yeah, you know what? I got 10 minutes between meetings. Perfect, sir. That's more than enough time. And then we're going to move into the next part is just to tell them what our goal of the call is. This is all putting people at ease because you want them to be comfortable to get into communication with you. If they're in communication with you, you can build trust. When you build trust, then you can do business together. So from here, John, my goal with this call is simply to find out more about yourself, how real estate investing may work for you, and how it can provide some opportunities for us to work together. Now, I'm going to provide you with all the information you need to determine if this is something you want to pursue further. And I'm going to leave all the decision-making up to you on your own time. Is that fair? And they're going to say, yes, because it's totally fair. And now you can move into the next phase. I hope you guys can see from this though, right? Like if John has come in apprehensive, he's worried about time, he's concerned about what you're going to think, you've just completely flipped this. You've made it very comfortable for him to be there in the moment with you, to know that you're going to give him information, he's going to get a clear sense of what you do, and that you're not going to pressure him to make a decision today. Because there's no like worse feeling than someone hopping on the call and you're like, hey, so you're ready to invest in this deal after like a 5-minute conversation? It's crazy, right? So it alleviate time and alleviate the need to make a decision today. Do that, you'll put your people at ease, and that'll allow you to actually move into what's called a fact find. Now, James talked about this earlier. I won't go through all the questions. Guys, maybe take a screenshot, or again, we'll try and get these slides out to you. But you want to develop your list of fact-finding questions that are going to be important for the type of investing that you do. Okay, now, I don't know everybody in the crowd here and what type of investments you're doing, but one of the things for me that I do is I flip houses. Okay, so I would work through a script like this. I would definitely ask them questions about what type of investments they've done in the past. What kind of returns are they looking for? Do they like short-term or long-term? You know, what do they currently do for work? I want to get a sense of how much capital they have, et cetera, et cetera. And James covered a lot of these already. But the first question, guys and girls, that I want you to ask, because this sets up everything else that you're going to ask, and it really puts them in the position to tell you what you need to hear to guide the rest of the conversation. And that's this, is what's the most important thing you want to take away from our call today? What's the most important thing you want to take away from our call today? Powerful, powerful question. Because you might be coming in thinking that, you know, they want to go invest in a deal. They're thinking totally different things. So you got to find out, hey, what's most important thing for you? Because in the fact find, we are trying to solve their problem, right? We're not trying to solve our problem. We know what our problem is. We need their money. No, just kidding, guys, right? But their problem matters more than your problem, okay? And if you can't solve their problem, they won't invest with you. Simple as that. So you ask that first question and then you move into future questions. And again, guys, there's tons of questions that you can ask. You want to know how much capital they have, if they can qualify for mortgages, what their financial future is going to look like in their eyes, what kind of challenges are they facing right now, any investments that they're doing. These are all going to help you shape your presentation. Because the most important part of the fact find, guys, is to actually determine, okay, how am I going to present my product, my investment opportunity, to help solve their problem? I hope that makes sense for everybody, right? Like, you're asking these questions so that you can really get a sense like, hey, what do you need? And how can I solve that problem for you? Right? Because you're in the solution business. You're a real estate investor solving a problem for somebody else. They need better investments. They need long-term investments. They need to know that their money's safe and that you can do it. So you've got to present based on the questions that you ask and answers that you get. Okay. I've got some more fact find questions here. Again, guys, feel free to take a screenshot. I know there's a lot of text in here, but I just want to make sure you got tons of info that you can go and use to develop your process literally tonight if you want to, and start having better conversations that are going to move you down the field to actually having investors or lenders or deals in your pipeline and ready to go. Okay. The last question I want you guys to ask when you get to the end of the fact find is actually returning to the question you asked in your first call. Other than yourself, who else would be involved in any investment making decisions? And you're probably wondering, like, well, Doug, he already answered this question, or she already answered the question in my first call. Yeah, but I mean, maybe they didn't tell you the truth. Maybe they just wanted to get off the call. Maybe the reality is they want you to think that they are the decision maker, but they've got to talk to their wife. They've got to talk to their husband. There is more people involved, or there are more people involved. Again, it's so important to know this, because if there's somebody else involved in the decision, you need to get them involved in the process. Okay? So just real quick example, right? Like, you know, I've got my Uncle John on the call in this example. John's married to, Susan. And I'm talking to John, and I say to John, other than yourself, who else would be involved in any investment making decisions? And he goes, oh, it's just me. I go, yeah, would anybody else influence the decision towards doing some sort of real estate investing? And he goes, oh, I'd probably want to run it by Susan. Oh, okay, cool. Awesome. I'll make sure you get all the information, yada, yada, yada. But now I know I can't close the deal on this call. I can't close the deal because I don't have the decision makers, right? I need Susan to be involved. So I just park that information, make sure I get her involved later. Okay. All right. I'm going to jump into this here, and we're almost done, guys, and then we can get into some questions. But this is key, right? We're transitioning again. Feel free to take a screenshot after the fact find. Okay, thank you for providing me with all that information. Gets me a sense of where you're at. I'm going to show you what we do with my real estate investments, types of projects, our track record, and how we can help you achieve your financial goals. This last part, right? Tell them your intention. People can sense if you are being dishonest or if you have unspoken intentions. So by telling someone your intention up front, right, that gives you permission to ask for business later. If you don't tell them your intention and then you're trying to close and do strange things later, it can feel a little bit uneasy. And our whole philosophy, right, like what we learn and what we teach at Grant Cardone's is really, hey, be transparent, be upfront with people, be straight. So share with them before you get into your presentation. My intention is that you have a full understanding of what we do and that I show you enough value that you're willing to move forward with an investment with us. If that doesn't happen, that's my fault, not yours. I just want you to know that that's my intention. Is that fair? Okay, great. And now you can move into your presentation. So they know, hey, You want them to be an investor. Now they know where they stand. If you're just showing them a whole bunch of information for the sake of like, hey, check it out, this is what I'm doing, but you're never actually going to want them to be an investor, well, it's kind of weird. You're wasting their time. So tell them your intention. Hey, if I show you enough value on this call, I want you investing with me. That's my intention. Is that okay? Great. Now we can move on. And now we get into a presentation. Okay. I specifically left a lot of the presenting out because I felt like James was going to talk about it, and he really did. So thank you, James. It's like we were like telepathically aligned on that one, right? But your presentation, like I said earlier, is going to be based on your fact find, the information that they gave you. And so you're going to tailor your presentation to what they said and how you help solve their problem. And you could be doing anything, right? You could be doing long-term buy and holds. You could be doing BRRRRs. You could be doing flips, okay? Regardless of what it is that you do, you use the information that they gave you to present your product in a way that helps solve their problem, okay? And there's a variety of ways to do that. Again, that's not the nature for this call because I wanted to get into some other items. But James really hit the nail on the head. You want to talk about what it is you do, track records. You want to get aligned on what their vision is. You want to show them the types of investments you've done and the types of returns that you're expecting. Those would be like the key things, okay? James wanted me to touch on this, and this ties into closing, as it's called, or actually getting someone to be an investor. And for us, a close, at least in this sense, would be getting the person to a letter of intent, okay? And so in order to get there, we've actually got to test the waters first. And this is really helpful because it helps you gauge like, hey, is this person actually engaged and interested in investing, or are they like totally tuned out? Like some of you probably are right now, right? So what I want to do is I want to ask trial closing questions. Can ask them during my presentation and of course after as well, right? So a good question to ask is, what do you like most about what you've seen so far? Help get them to identify like, oh, I really like that project. Tell me more about that, right? So you can really understand like what's gravitating and pulling their attention. Okay, that's important. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I'm not touching any real estate and 10 being, hey man, put me on the next project, where are you in regards to investing with me or us? Okay, they're going to give you an answer. If it's anything less than a 10, ask them, hey, what would make it a 10? When you get the answer to that question, they've literally told you exactly what you need to do, in theory, for them to actually go do an investment with you. I don't know about you, but I'd like to know that information. It's going to help me do what I need to make sure that they actually invest with me. If you were to do this, what kind of investment interests you the most? And then here's some powerful questions, right? What happens if you don't move forward on something like this? That's a good one. Or what happens if you move forward on something like this? What happens if you were to do it? Okay, you're putting people in a positive state, like, hey, yeah, this could turn out well. This could really change my financial future. We would love to do this. We want to support you. Or what happens if you don't move forward? Well, I'm still in ignorance around my money. I'm still not preparing for retirement. When you put people and like presence them to the pain of not doing something with you, that helps them realize that, hey, maybe this is an opportunity that I should look to do. Okay, so those are some great questions there on the trial close that you can use to test the waters and see, hey, is this person ready to go or do they need some more information? And this is the killer question. I know I've shared with some of the people on the call who I know is you gotta, oh, there's a double slide there. You gotta ask this question. Have you seen enough to make a decision? Man, I love this question. Have you seen enough to make a decision? They're going to tell you in this moment, yes or no. Pretty simple. If they say yes, great, awesome. Next step is for us to move forward with a letter of intent. I'm going to get that paperwork signed up for you. Okay, because they've just told you, hey, they're ready to go. So I'm not going to spend any more time selling. I'm not going to spend any more time telling them about projects. They just told me, yeah, I have seen enough to make a decision. Great, let's move forward. Okay, so you move into the next step, letter of intent, whatever it may be. If they say no, then you can ask them, okay, fantastic. What do you need more information on? And they're going to share what they're really going through. They may say, oh, you know what? I need to think about it. I need to talk with Susan, the decision maker, right? Other things are going to come up when you ask this question. And this is powerful information because now you can take what they say and either solve the problem that they're sharing with you, or you know that something that happened earlier in your presentation wasn't covered. You could be pitching them the wrong product. You're not solving their problem. They're not sold on you. Okay, so this is a great question, guys. Make sure you take it. Make sure you use it at the end of every presentation. All right, so here we are, right? I'm kind of getting close to wrapping up, and then we'll have some questions. Closing. Guys, always ask people to invest with you. Get in the habit, build the muscle. Okay, you got to believe, going back to being sold on yourself, if it's the right thing for them to do, you owe it to them to ask for their business. Some of you are probably like, oh man, that's crazy. How do I owe it to them? Listen, guys, there are so many people right now. I'm just going to get real with you. There are so many people with you right now who have a ton of money in the bank. They are losing money every freaking day that it's not working. Every day they're losing money. Why? Inflation's crazier than we've ever seen back in the 80s, right? Okay. The bank pays no money, right? Every year that they continue to work and cost of living goes up in Vancouver, Toronto, all the major cities, the value of their dollar decreases. So if they're not putting it to work and getting in investments, they are actually getting poorer. So yes, you do owe it to them to ask for their business. Because if I've got 30% returns every year and I don't ask for their business, I'm not helping them. So I hope you can feel the passion on that, because there are so many people right now who are really struggling financially because they won't do things today that will help them in the future. Or they're in a fine spot today, but if they don't do something today, they're going to be screwed later. So you owe it to them because you know something they don't and you can help them. If they don't close or they don't want to invest with you, it's because of one of three reasons. They're not on the right investment product, they're not sold on that product solving their problem, or they're not sold on you. All right, so you got to find which one. Hey, what's wrong? You could ask them, hey, are we on the right product? Are you sold on me? Do you think I'm the right person to do business with? These are all good questions again. All right, I'm getting to the end here. I know we're coming up on time. This is the most important thing, the most important sales skill for real estate investors, because guys, the reality is most people are not going to get to the end of the presentation and be like, hey, here's my money. Let's go do a deal. All right, right or wrong? How many times does that happen for anybody? If it does, you're probably like, why are you saying yes so fast? So what do you got to do? The number one sales skill, I know the realtors all know this in the room. You got to follow up. You got to follow up. But we're not just talking about follow-up. We're talking about a specific type of follow-up. And that's this. It's called value-added follow-up, VAFU. All right, nice acronym. Value-added follow-up. It's when you provide value first, and then the follow-up happens naturally. So follow-up looks like this. And if you've ever gone shopping for a car, you may have had this happen. You go to the dealership, you don't purchase the vehicle. You worked with a certain salesperson, right? They got your phone number. So you walk away and they call you back in a week and you get this call. Hey, Doug, it's John from the dealership. Oh, hey, John, what's up? Yeah, man, I was just checking in. Just wanted to see if you were ready to buy. Just touching base, right? You've got that call. It's painful. Oh, man, I hate that call. Because they're like fishing for business. They're just seeing like, hey, are you ready to pay me? Guys, do this really quick. I want you to look at the acronym VAFU. And if you put your hand over the V and the A, you'll see a couple letters. And you can just read it out loud. It says FU. That's what you do when you follow up without adding value first. If anybody here has seen Goodfellas, right? I think it's Joe Pesci. He says, FU, pay me. So when you follow up and you're just like, hey, just checking in, are you ready to do the deal? Hey, Tom, I got a great deal for you. You ready to invest? Hey, Steve, yeah, we got a great deal coming up. Super good flip. I need 100 grand. Are you ready to go? Guys, that's child's play. Terrible calls. So what you got to do is you got to keep in touch with people creatively. You got to follow up with value first. And how do you do that? Well, you can do it in tons of different ways. Guys, screenshot this, take this, okay? Because there are so many great ways for you to add value for people. And what's funny is, we see this all the time in our office, is when you add value first, people will bring up the deal. It's like this weird thing. I don't understand, but it works every time. So what I mean by that is, let's say I'm talking to Christy and we've had a conversation about real estate investing. She needs some time to think about it. I'm like, okay, cool. And, I send to Christy a recent podcast episode that I did about the challenges of investing out of market. And I sent it to Christy and say, hey, Christy, check out this podcast episode I did. I think you'll like it. And I sent that off to her. I just provided value and I followed up. Okay. I gave her a great piece of content for her to learn from, and I got in communication with her again. And so what Christy's probably going to do, and this happens with most people, is they'll say, oh, thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Hey, by the way, I was thinking about the real estate deal. Can we hop on a quick call? And if you think I'm crazy, try it. And you can do this with so many different things. You can write them a letter, send it in the mail. You can send them a video. You can invite them to a mastermind event like this. I literally, I don't know if any of them are actually on the call. I haven't checked it. But I invited people to this call who I'm potentially investing with, right? And I said to them, hey, I'm going to be appearing on this mastermind. I'm going to be talking about sales and real estate investing. You should hop on as an event offer, right? So I'm getting in front of them, keeping myself creatively known so that when they're ready to go do a deal, they're thinking of me. And guys, this happens so much. I mean, it's wild how much this happens now, 9 years in, is that's when people start reaching out. They remember like, hey, oh yeah, you're investing in real estate. And so now I get these random calls. They're not random at all because I've actually been following up with people for years and years by just adding value to them. Podcast, send a text, email, give them a call. I thought of you. Hey, here's a photo of me at my latest deal. Hey, here's me walking through this property I just bought. There's so many ways to do this, guys. So you lead with value, and then the follow-up happens behind it, right? Okay. I've given you guys a bunch here. I hope this has been helpful. I'd love to hear some feedback and some reviews in the future. But I want to thank everybody here for being on this call, welcoming me into the mastermind. I hope you've really taken some good things away. If anybody wants to get in touch with me, you can find out more about myself, my email, Grant Cardone Sales Training. It's all there. On Facebook, that's me, Doug Myers, Real Estate Investor. We do a little bit of real estate investing coaching with Revenue and through our team there. And of course, the Revenue with Real Estate podcast as well is something that I host. So I'm always trying to give value to the community and give back to people. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on here tonight. So thank you to the team at Mogul. Thank you all for being here and investing your time in yourself and developing your real estate investing journey. And honestly, thank you very much for having me.